What's going on, guys? Welcome to Boosted Motorsports. So we're going to be working on Project Crackhawk. So this is the LS swapped Jeep Comanche. On the last video you guys saw we started the engine. We were only able to just crank it and fire for a couple seconds because we don't have an exhaust on it, we don't have accessories, we don't have coolant, we don't have anything hooked up to the front. So this video, we're gonna start getting the accessories onto the engine and we'll see if our manifolds show up, but let's get to work. All right, so quick recap, this is what it looks like. So we've got our Holley tall valve covers on here, MSD coil packs, we've got who knows what brand name intake, a no-name throttle body. This stuff came with the vehicle, but we do have a Holley alternator bracket and a water pump. So there's a few different configurations for the water pump. So we also have to get our radiator in here. We've got that massive radiator with electronic fans in there. What do you think? Should we get to work?
Nah.
Let's
take a break.
So we're gonna see how that all fits. Hopefully what we went with as far as the water necks, because there's some options for different water neck water pumps. Hoping it's gonna work with this radiator, but only one way to find out. So let's get it in here.
Do it.
All right, what you got, John?
You got the radiator right here.
Radiator? You're not allowed to say it.
That's how you say it.
It's John speaking Canadian. So we've got triple fans set up on the back with a aluminum shroud. It's pretty trick looking, but we're gonna see how this fits. We had to relocate the battery to here, so I don't know where this water neck is gonna land over here. So we're gonna get this thing in here. It looks like we're missing some rubber grommets that go in our core support down there, but let me throw it in.
On the reviews that these fans tend to shake a lot. So.
No, I'm my own review. The ones on the SST literally was shaking the dashboard. So these guys are a little bit smaller than the SST ones, but we'll see what happens. All right, so we've got our radiator in here, but don't see any obvious spots for it to mount. So we're missing the grommets from the bottom, so that'll bring it up a tad, but nothing obvious as far as how one attaches to the other. So we're gonna look into this and see what we find. Okay, so it looks like there is a rubber pad that mounts to these on both sides, and it has a stud that comes out, and then that goes into our top plate. So in order to secure that, we're gonna need to get those from Junkyard or online. But let's go ahead and get our water pump situated. So we can probably remove these at this point. We've got new gaskets, a water pump, so I can take off this old half this gasket here. So we'll pop this guy off, and then I'll show you guys the water pump. We'll get that in here. Okay, so check it out, you guys. So we've got a brand new pump. Boys at Holley sent this over, so we got this on Holley.com, and we went with this one because the water neck seems like it's situated a little bit better. So it's got one on each side. Thermostat housing is right there. Also, we got brand new gaskets from Mr. Gasket, and we've got brand new hardware for our water pump as well. So let's go ahead and get this thing situated. I think this is gonna work out beautifully for us, and get our water necks situated accordingly, because on this radiator we have an inlet and outlet on both sides, whereas the original water pump for this had both inlet and outlet on the same side, so it would have made a mishmash and cross up of hoses. So that's why we went with this style. Man, I can't help myself. Got to make it a little bit pretty. So we're just painting the crank pulley. I just got it taped off where the belt rides, and we're just gonna doll her up a little bit. Dang, check that out, you guys. So with our fancy hardware there and our new Holley water pump, I think it looks pretty dang good. So I had to doll up the pulley because that thing was rusty and crusty, so.
It did not match this.
No, not at all. So one step closer, and taking out the radiator and the whole core support made it way easier to work on. We're not like, I was gonna say something, I don't know. It makes it way easier to work on. So let's go ahead and get the alternator and the bracket. Okay, so check this out. We've got all the stuff from Holley for our accessories. So we've got a power steering pump, we've got an alternator in the box, we've got our alternator wire, so that'll excite our alternator. So let's get everything out of the package and then we will show you. We got a remote reservoir for power steering. So let's get it out of the box and see what we got. All right, check this out, you guys. This is looking super trick through here. So we're just testing with the radiator, make sure we have all adequate clearance, and we do. Only thing we're noticing is there is a couple options for you guys on the Holley bracket. So depending on what crank pulley you have, it will determine your offset of your pulleys and whatnot. So since we have the truck accessories and whatnot, you can see here that our water pump is lined up with our crank pulley, but then over here, this is offset back. So Holley sells a bracket that's gonna bring all this stuff out. And then we also need to get one of the car style tensioners. So that's gonna sit here, and that'll be our tensioner, and then all of our pulleys will come forward. Also, I gotta pick up a power steering pulley installer and remover, so that way we can get our Holley pulley on there. But anyways, that's all coming up pretty good, but not much we can do here until we get those pieces and until we get those bushings for the radiator. So what we're actually gonna move on to, and just before I show you that, we're also maybe gonna relocate the battery inside the vehicle. So we were trying to decide what we wanted to do there, because as soon as we installed our radiator with this big neck here on this aftermarket one, and then with our alternator being over here, kind of running out of room real quick for our battery to sit here. We did even go with a smaller Honda battery, which cranks the engine no problem, but originally the battery was here, but we're relocating it because we're gonna have a huge turbo here, and there's not much more room left. We kind of moved it around. If we wanted to put it here, we would have to essentially notch out our fender well, and if we want to do any roading afterwards, it would get into our ground clearance and potentially our wheel would touch, you know, this notched out portion. Same thing over here, turbo's gonna go here. Our fuse box already over here. I tried to sneak it into here, but not enough room. It sits way too high for the hood. So we're thinking probably behind the passenger seat. Could put it in the bed as well, but we're thinking over here. That way we don't have to extend the cables. We can probably swing everything and it should reach to over here. So while we're waiting for some parts on that, we're actually gonna install the dash and get some of that stuff buttoned up, because we don't really need to leave it unbuttoned at this point. We can probably start putting something together. So let's put the dash in and make it look like a Jeep again. All right, check it out, guys. We have a bit of an interior for once. What do you think, John?
It looks great, dude.
Do you think we need a window?
Oh, nah, we'll be fine.
Nah.
We need airflow.
Weight reduction. So we got no windshield, no rear glass. We got side windows.
But at least we have a dash.
It actually looks pretty decent. This one was, the rubber was getting like really sticky on it. I tried cleaning it off and the gray is just like coming off the black rubber. So I have another one, so we'll probably swap it out whenever we have to get back in there. John took off our plate there because we're gonna paint it, put some rivsets in there.
Those plugs right there in the middle.
Which ones?
The plugs right underneath the HVAC.
Oh, what about them?
Yeah, what about them? What is it?
I don't know. I'm not a Jeep guy. They're missing. But I guess we could wire them up. One of them looks like fog lights if we had fog lights, I suppose. Maybe we'll light bar this thing.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put it up, and we might try to get some brakes going so that if we get some sort of a drive shaft, even a temporary drive shaft, we have the ability to put it in gear and move it around.
Right.
Yeah, while we're waiting for some other parts to arrive, we'll get that done. Okay, so we have the Jeep up in the air and we're just messing with the brakes a little bit. So we're gonna be putting a 4-wheel drive front axle on here at some point. So for now, we're just gonna try to get by with the front axle that we have. We're gonna see, I guess, how these work out. I don't really, you guys can probably understand. I don't wanna like invest a ton of money into the rotors and brakes and everything when this whole axle is gonna come out and the 4-wheel drive version's all different again. Other thing too is you're gonna see that this rotor has the older style hubs, so the bearing actually is what holds the rotor on versus the newer style where it's like a cartridge where the rotor floats on the hub and it's not an integral part of the actual wheel bearing assembly. But these are actually in better shape than our other one. Other thing is our brake lines. So me and John replaced this brake line because we took the brake line off the XJ, because the brake lines that are on this are both really old, and this one is actually ripped. I don't know if you guys can see it there, but it is completely ripped and torn, and the rubber is really dried out and cracking. So for now, we're just gonna take the brake lines off that. So that's why we are into all this mess. If you're wondering what the water is, it was a torrential downpour a few minutes ago and it was just pretty much flowing in here. So here's this. I was thinking of swapping over these knuckles, but these calipers are pretty like almost seized up. So I figured let's just go ahead and we'll just use the ones that are over there. We know at least it works. So, and these rotors are in far worse shape, I think, than over there. So anyways, either way, regardless, we have to transfer over these brake lines. So that's what we're doing now. And we'll keep getting some more stuff done. All right, so we've got two working and good condition brake lines on the front. I'm gonna mess with the rear in just a second, but John, what are you doing? He's playing in a lake over here. Look at this. John's a splish splashing.
This is the conditions John has me working. Send help.
He's over here in a boat. So he put the, what did you do? You wanna explain?
I put the old axle from the Comanche in here. Just enough so we could roll it. It's not on straight or anything. The axle's upside down, how it should be. So
it's fine.
it'll roll. There we go.
Sheesh, let's
Rubbing
go.
on everything.
Rub a dub dub. So that's on there. At least we can push this heap of a Jeep out. Because this thing is ugly. So we'll probably push this thing back outside. And then what I just received, we got the fittings for our transmission cooler lines. So the ones that screw into here. So we're gonna screw those in. That way that's almost ready to go. And then I also have to mess with this. So I gotta mount that over here on the frame. And then we can double check all of our brake lines back here. And then we might be able to bleed the system. So we might have brakes in just a few minutes. So here's the dash 6 fittings that we're gonna put into our transmission. So these are, I believe it was a quarter NPT, yeah. So quarter NPT on the one side, and then dash 6 on the other side, and then we'll get these in our transmission. Okay, so John was over here and he found some, what did you found some bolts, it looks like, just need some nuts?
Yeah, I just gotta find the nuts for that.
So there was some bolts missing from both our engine mount and this bar here. So he went ahead, found some bolts for that, and then I was back here, got our brake line mounted to the frame rail, or at least the holster for where it transitions into the rubber portion. So that's on there now. Also, we have a few just spare drive shafts, so we might just chop one of them up. The guy that I bought this off of gave me like 3 different ones. Surprisingly, that one, you can see it's been cut in the middle right there, and it is dang close to working. So you got to remember too, I bet you that one would actually fit, but when we changed out this, apparently it moves your pinion yoke a little bit further forward because this is longer, it's a bigger assembly. So that one might have actually been, you know, made to fit as far as just a test piece, but we might just chop one up at least so we can move it around once we get to that stage, and obviously we'll get one made properly and balanced. But everything's starting to look decent in here, boys. So we're gonna put it down and we are going to bleed the brakes. All of our fittings are tight. And we'll see if we might have at least some stopping action. We don't got no go, but we can at least stop, hopefully. Okay, so we just got the Mighty vac on the line here. We're trying to get some fluid through for the first time. Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see it. It is just red coming through. So we'll see how this works. Look at it. Oh, there it goes. Nasty. All right, try pumping it.
Oh, it's getting pressure.
You got a little bit of pressure?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm gonna open it. That's a little better.
I'm holding this, so let it go.
Hold on. Okay, pump it up. I'm gonna go to the next one anyways. You can pump it though. Okay, so we bled the fronts. John's got half a pedal.
Yeah, barely.
Still got no, you almost look like me in the SST when I was driving around. You're over here making fun of me. You're on the floor, no seats too. So we're just getting fluid to the back. Some people start at the rear. I mean, they're 2 separate circuits anyways. The front's controlled by one circuit and the rear's controlled by another. So just trying to get fluid to the back because these lines are bone dry. I'm starting to get some fluid in here and he's starting to get a bit more pedal feel. So let's just get this done. All right, so I'm gonna open it. You got pressure on?
Yeah.
All right, got a bit more fluid coming through. All right, I'm gonna go to the other side since we got fluid on this side. Okay, we're opening it on the driver's side here. I don't know if you guys can see it. We're just barely getting fluid through the line, so just getting all this air out of here. You're on the brakes right now?
Yeah.
Let off? I can't even, like, push the brakes. I can't even turn this. Hit the brakes? Yeah, I can't. It stops the drum. Okay, well, let's keep working on it. I'll open this one more time. We'll go to the next. Okay, who we got?
We got some major progress. That's what we got.
And we got brakes.
We got brakes, finally.
So, John says we got, what, thumbs up on the pedal?
Thumbs up on the pedal. It feels like a Jeep. I hope it's gonna stop. We don't know yet.
We
need it to stop because we want to drive this thing.
Well, definitely don't go.
Yeah. So the next thing is what? The drive shaft, and then we can drive it?
I think we need a lot more than the drive shaft, but
don't worry about the rest of the stuff.
we still gotta get the bracket for our accessory system so that we can get a belt on it, and we gotta figure out, this is gonna be kind of fun. We gotta figure out how to go from this size to that size, and I can't even really make this because it's gonna be a big old turbo sitting here, so I don't really know how we have to get from A to B. And then same deal on that side, we gotta go from that hose over to the lower on that side of the radiator. I think for now we're probably just gonna like loop our cooling lines. I don't think we're gonna try to go through the heater core just yet, just because we don't know the status of that and we don't feel like messing with it. So might just give this a little loop here, but again, we are gonna have a lot of hardware over here and we don't really know how much room we can afford.
Yes.
So, but overall, we did get a lot done. We got accessories, water pump, brakes, a bunch of little things. So one step closer. Oh, and we did the interior. So
yeah, we got the dash in.
Not bad at all. So we're gonna keep reminding you guys, we're gonna be at LS Fest with this Crack Hawk.
Yeah.
We're also gonna be there with all of our other builds, both Hellcat trucks. The SST will be there. If you got a bag, come. You can buy something from as cheap as a Hellcat. No, you can come and buy something as cheap as a Crack Hawk to a Hellcat truck, whatever you want.
Whatever
Pretty
is
much
in your budget.
We got it all. And we're gonna have merch at the tent. We're gonna have shirts, key tags, stickers.
Hats.
Yeah, we got hats.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff. And I'm gonna bring some parts as well with me. And we'll have a ton of stuff on sale. So come see us, grab some merch,
Bring
hang
on your
out.
pocket change.
That too. And if you guys are curious and you want to see the builds, ask more questions about the builds, see them in person, chat with me or John, we'll be there as well. So that's going to be it. It's coming up fast, you guys. We only got what, like a few more weeks.
Question for them. What truck or car here do you guys want to see doing like burnouts or drag strip racing at Mo Party? Because he doesn't want to do anything and I want him to. So comment down below what car you guys want to see go fast.
Yeah, let us know down below. And as always, guys, give it a thumbs up before you take off. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you guys on the next video.